Hey guys, I have Alex Wells on. He's a director of marketing at Marketing 360, and I wanted to pull him on today to talk about multi-channel advertising and really the value and importance of that, especially today for small businesses in the digital world. So glad to have you, Alex.
Oh, it's nice to be here. Definitely. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Alex, walk us through it. If you had a small business that were sitting in front of you right now, what would you tell them in terms of multi-channel advertising and why that's important?
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing, right, is these days there's so many different places where, you can be seen, especially online, right? So, I think that if I was running a small business, I would just try to make sure that I'm, getting myself as much visibility as I possibly could, right? So, the thing right now is it's a very competitive world, right? We continue to see costs go up in advertising, and so the biggest thing that you want to try to focus on is to make sure that people are thinking of you when they need your service or they want to buy your product, rather than always having to play that competitive bidding game online. It's really, you want them thinking about you when it's time. And the best thing to do with that is just to make sure that you're constantly using all the different channels you possibly can, so that when that time comes, they're ready to pull the trigger.
No, I love that. And what would you say, working with so many small businesses are the top channels? There's so many different channels out there. What would you say maybe is like the top five that a small business should be thinking about and make sure they have a presence there?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, to me, I think that we're still in the environment where the top channel is going to be your social media, and the different channels that you can find there from, Facebook. Although it's been around for a very long time, it's still definitely king as far as users go. So, the not only that, but people just continue to spend so much time on that. So you really want to make sure that you're taking care of that, and you're, making yourself available for the people that are constantly using that platform, right? So
Mhm.
social media, Instagram is definitely a big one right now too. That popularity is gained so much traction over the years, and the things that you can do on that platform, I think, has become so much more usable for businesses and advertising. Whereas I think when it first started coming around, it was just, taking photos here and there. So and getting them online for people to see. So I think
Mhm.
that social media, just because of how much time people spend on it, how much data they've collected on the people that are using it, and how targeted you can get with those, it's so important.
Mhm.
Another one too that I think is very underutilized for a lot of businesses specifically is going to be YouTube. YouTube and video advertising, especially with the amount of people that are starting to use streaming for their television. It's an awesome way to be able to get in front of people that are using that platform. Even for watching TV these days, right?
Mhm.
It's the days of having to spend tons of money just to create a commercial and run it on your local TV stations. I just think that we've definitely graduated from that, and you can utilize YouTube effectively for business advertising with that. Those are two of the biggest ones. Obviously, you want to come in and make sure that these days too, Google is always going to be one that you want to round it out with, and making sure that you're available for people that are trying to find you and searching for you. I think the way to do that though has changed too. So a lot of the businesses that I've worked with, really, if we can try to get you some exposure on the social channels and potentially maybe the YouTube and stuff like that, then use the Google aspect for it for people that are trying to find the brand name, right, and for people that are looking for your reviews, right, and making sure that you're getting them the right information at the right time for that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Those are three big ones. And then I'd probably round that out with, things like Spotify, Pandora, different things that you're streaming and people are using to listen to music and stuff like that. I think that that's a big way to get in front of them, the new radio, right? So those are big ones for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's just so many different channels. So I think, yeah, I mean, the tip would be for small businesses to really think about where their customer base is. And, for some businesses, LinkedIn makes sense. For other ones, it doesn't. So
Yep.
that's just an example of, try to pinpoint those channels that you think most of your customers are spending their time on, and then be active there. So That's a great point. And I think on YouTube, the thing is all of our customers and all of our potential customers have questions. And
Yep.
YouTube is the destination site for answering questions. That's where people go to try to find the answers that they're looking for. So if you think about the questions that you have in your business, that would be great content to put on YouTube and hopefully, become discovered. So I think that's an excellent point.
Yes, absolutely. And I think your point too with LinkedIn, what I've definitely found is that's a huge area for your B2B, right? You're going to have your professionals. That's really what it's used for, networking and everything there. So between using it for networking for your business, right, and finding other business owners and connections and stuff like that there, and then also the B2B side, I think that's a huge one for that.
Absolutely. When we're talking about advertising and, specifically, so spending some money to run some ads on Facebook or Instagram, maybe even YouTube, what are, let's focus on Instagram and Facebook specifically, just to narrow the focus. What would be some things that you're seeing that are most effective there when it comes to the ad campaigns? What are your top tips on that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think one of the things that I feel like you often hear sometimes from like your service industry businesses and stuff is I think it's hard to kind of connect the dots on between how that's being used from like a social route, and what you're used to seeing, people posting pictures of the family, their kids, stuff like that, and interacting there, and then how you would utilize that for like a service industry. And what I've found is extremely effective is to educate your customers about your services, almost to a certain extent, to like train them and kind of teach them a little bit about how to do this and how to do that. And the fact that that is going to show a lot of dedication. And I think your customer basis or potential customers will really appreciate that. And then they'll get to the point where, they actually won't be able to do what it is that needs to be done, and they need to get a professional involved. And because you've interacted with them that way and you've really shown that dedication to try to educate them about your products and services, I think that's going to set you up really well when they finally need to work with somebody.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's really, the strategy that I think is the most effective too. And really the way that we do it is just, give the information away for free, talk about how your product works, show how it works, talk about your services, how people can take advantage of them. Even maybe they don't go with you, they go with somebody else, give them the tips on, the value behind what you do, just add value. And that's probably the best way, as opposed to just, here's a sale for today, right? Not as effective these days. So
Exactly. Yep.
absolutely. What are some tips on, when you're running an ad campaign, what are some things that you should look at to see if it is working? And maybe, some of those data points that you should keep a close eye, because there's so many things that are tracked. Sometimes it's hard even to look at, what do I look at? What do I
Yep.
focus on? What are the top 2 or 3 things that you look at?
A big one for me has always been engagement. I like to make sure that people are interacting with our ads, right? If you can start generating, likes, hearts, all the different emojis and everything on your social media platforms, I think that that's a big, big one for me, because the thing too that I think is really important when it comes to that engagement piece is that also is going to build trust to people that see your ads later, right? If they see that people are engaging with your content, then when they see your advertising, see how many people are paying attention to what you're doing, it's going to build that trust. So that's always been a really big one for me. I've always tried to intertwine engagement with lead generation or sales. You'll see that with a lot of big brands where, you see an ad on Facebook or Instagram and there's tons of likes and comments and everything like that. And immediately it just builds so much trust.
That's a great point, because you're right. Sometimes it's hard to really understand if your conversion or your sale came from that social ad or something else. And oftentimes I think you probably get a lot of sales that don't directly even get attributed to the social ad, but the engagement's a great point. If you see engagement increasing, that means it's a good ad. People are liking it, which is just going to equate into sales at some point, right? So, that's a kind of a leading indicator. So I think that's a pretty good tip.
Exactly. I mean, how many times, or at least, from myself, over the years, it's not as much buying off of the social ads or, you know, calling for a service off the social ads that I do as much as I actually interact with it. It's what draws my interest to them. And then when I'm ready, I'm gonna go to them directly, or another route at that point.
Absolutely. It's like what I always say, hey, if you want market share, it starts with mind share, right? And
Yeah,
somebody throwing a like in there and smashing that like button, that's, you captured a little bit of their mind. So that's the first step to sales.
exactly.
Cool. Well, anything else, Alex, off the top of your head that you wanted to share with everybody before we jumped off when it comes to social advertising and just multi-channel advertising in general?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, like I started with, is just make sure you're taking care of all these things. There's so much opportunity, you know, on the digital space, and there's so many channels available. So, you know, make sure you're taking care of it. You know, you're consistent over a long period of time, and you're going to see tremendous results from it.
Absolutely. Just keep chopping wood every day, right?
Yep, exactly.
Awesome, Alex. Well, I appreciate your time today.
Anytime. Thank you so much, JB.